Tonight, Regina City Council looks at how utility rates could impact future budgets. What is Don Walker's connection to the FSIN audit concerns? And Saskatchewan's only standing residential school is now a National Historic Site.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. The name of a woman charged with orchestrating a fake disappearance with her son about 3 years ago is being brought up again, this time with the flagged federal audit of FSIN. Keenan Sorokon explains why.
We're learning more about the connection between a federal audit questioning $34 million of spending and the FSIN's former executive operating officer, Don Walker. Walker is known for her high-profile disappearance and abduction of her child in July 2022, which she orchestrated for months, forging passports and setting up bank accounts before staging her disappearance along the South Saskatchewan riverbank. She was ultimately arrested in Oregon while volunteers back home searched for her. CTV News has learned from a number of people close to the organization that ineligible spending flagged in a federal audit on a former employee was actually Walker's salary and contracts during the audit period. As part of more than $500,000 of federal funding paid to Walker over 7 separate agreements, the audit says $246,000 of it is ineligible. Walker received more than $100,000 through her company for services that appear to align with her responsibilities as an employee of FSIN. She also received a severance payment that KPMG described as appearing to have been inappropriate because she was re-employed less than a week after taking the severance. This is all despite Walker resigning prior to being terminated without cause. CTV News reached out to Walker through her legal counsel but did not get a response, and the FSIN did not respond to multiple requests. In a media release, the FSIN did not reference Walker by name but says it handed over proof that some of the former employees' salary was given to her company and says employees can assign salary for things like child or spousal support. The FSIN says a settlement agreement was negotiated based on a harassment matter, but a clerical error resulted in the former employee getting all of her severance and not the deducted amount, an overpayment of roughly $48,000. The FSIN says the salary payment was made under a court order and says it was legally obligated to pay, believing that money cannot reasonably be considered ineligible. Keenan Sorokon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Now, Indigenous Services Canada is clarifying its response in relation to a forensic audit it ordered into those finances at the Federation of Sovereign Indigenous Nations. Earlier this week, the FSIN disputed the findings, saying it did not receive any detailed documents of the audit. The ISC originally told media the FSIN did not ask for a copy of the full report, but in an email to CTV News, it corrected that statement, saying it had indeed received a request from the FSIN for the full details, but it says it does not provide copies of the full audit, as the document could include sensitive and personal information. It did say that it met with FSIN leaders on September 11th to present the final audit and will hold further meetings to provide more information, but it will not include the full audit document as per their policy. It was an emotional day on the site of a former residential school in southern Saskatchewan. A plaque was revealed, making the school a historic site, ensuring the atrocities experienced by Indigenous students there will be documented for generations. Regina has more, and a warning: some viewers will find the details in this story disturbing.
The only standing former residential school in Saskatchewan is now a National Historic Site.
The importance is what it represents and what it has been and what has transpired since 1889 with the old former school that burnt, and then this one who was built in 1930, and what it means when it's shut in 1997.
Students from Muskowekwan School walked to the former institution, located near Lestock, to participate in a plaque unveiling ceremony.
And then the Muskowekwan First Nation got in touch with us. We're interested in commemorating this site, so we worked with them to commemorate the site the way they wanted.
The plaque now displays the impact of the school in 4 languages: Cree, Nakawewin, French, and English.
These children endured physical and sexual abuse, severe discipline, and isolation from family, community, and tradition, causing intergenerational trauma.
The former school is still a vivid memory for many band members.
So I attended the day school starting at age 4, and I continued living in this school until I was approximately 15 years old.
The chief says the restoration of the school is a way to be part of reconciliation in their community.
Where it stood as something really dark for the last 100 years is how long it stood in the community, and we need to make it a better place for us, a better place for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and any future generations to come.
The First Nation is open to partnership regarding the future of the building, which is being preserved as a place of commemoration, healing, and cultural learning.
And we encourage and welcome any input from anyone across the province, throughout Canada. Let's do this together.
Regina CTV News, Musqueam First Nation.
And for all survivors and their families, there is a national crisis line available 24 hours, 7 days a week. If you or anyone is in need, the number is 1-866-925-4419. The Sisters in Spirit Walk for Healing took place today from North Central Regina to the RCMP Training Academy. First Nations drummers led the procession along Dutney Avenue with a crowd of students and police officers following behind. Officers from both the Regina Police Service and the RCMP took part. The 5th annual event honors the lives of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. The event also offers space for healing for families and the community. Organizers hope to raise awareness of violence in the community and help to make it a better place to live.
Today's a good day. We thank the Creator for today and everybody that came together today. The police service, the RCMP.
The walk ended at the Place of Reflection near the RCMP Heritage Center. It's a place for families to smudge and pray. Regina City Council gathered today for a special meeting to discuss the 2026 and 2027 future budgets. That with early projections as taxpayers seeing a hefty increase in their mill rate. Today focused on a few areas of the budget, including utilities. Damian Smith has that story.
The last in a series of special council meetings held at City Hall. City managers presenting the utility operated and capital budgets for the next 2 years, including a $20 million increase in utility operations from 2026 to 2027, which is about an 8% increase.
It's a great step towards transparency for council, transparency for the public, and for us to go along together on that journey of understanding what it takes to run the city on all the services that we provide.
The first part of the meeting providing details on how Regina can utilize its utilities in the most efficient way possible.
Really what it comes down to, and today was maybe a good meeting, my colleague Mr. Downey explained, we have 50 years worth of work. So what the budgeting process really comes down to is timing. What do we want to do in 2026? What do we want to do in 2027? What do we have to do?
Fluoride was also a topic of discussion after the city prepares for the chemical to be installed once the new year arrives. Back in May, a vote in favor of fluoride being added to the city's water included 3 opposed and 7 in favor.
Reconsidered, we did that reconsideration before on that, and it was defeated, that reconsideration. And as far as I've heard, there's been no new information that's come forward to the city.
As winter approaches, the city says that they're ready to manage an important season for utility use.
But the reality is anything that we kick down the road still needs to get done, and so we can't do that forever. So at some point we have to take care of the infrastructure.
In the end, council voted to refer the matter back to administration to prepare a supplemental report that will be included in the proposed budget report for council's consideration at its budget meeting in December. Damian Smith, CTV News, Regina.
Dozens of volunteers took to Regina streets last night for the annual point-in-time count, finding out approximately how many people are experiencing homelessness. As Wayne Mantica tells us, the findings will help direct government housing dollars to where it is needed the most.
These volunteers ventured down streets and dark alleys in Regina's heritage neighborhood in search of people who don't have housing.
Is there anything that would stop you from finding a house other than you don't have your ID?
They found folks in need of help at every turn.
If you need help with applying for ID, applying for
Earlier in the evening, about 150 volunteers met in North Central for instructions on how to conduct the survey and how to stay safe.
If you treat everybody with respect, I'm not scared of walking down the alley is because I'm not looking for anything. I just want to make a difference in these people's lives, and if that's where they have to be to find safety is in the back lane. I have a great team with me tonight to do the pick count, and we're sticking together as a group.
A higher count could bring more housing dollars.
By having those numbers, it allows us to see where we have to focus some of our dollars on, like where can we invest in.
The volunteers also encountered people who do have a place to live, but see the need in their neighborhood.
I was homeless back in the day, so I know how they feel. I've been through this. It's crazy.
This man carries a naloxone kit, which he has used to aid 16 overdose victims.
I'm a citizen, man. I'm not the paramedics. I shouldn't be seeing it that much.
All want lives improved.
I would love to see you in a house and to see you smile and be able to hold your head up and go, you know what, we got this.
It could take a couple of months to tally the point-in-time results. Last year, 824 individuals were found without housing. Some expect this year's number could go higher. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
Kayleen Sawatsky is in for hour 14 of her weatherthon today. So what can we see for the weekend, Kayleen?
Well, we're going to be seeing some nice temperatures, at least for tomorrow. It's actually on Sunday that we start to see the temperatures go down below double digits, but don't worry too much. Into the middle of next week, we still are going to be seeing some of those 20-degree temperatures, and I'll show you that on our 7-day forecast a little bit later on in the show. Let's turn our attention now to this radar and satellite, though, and talk about that precipitation that was tracking east through the central and southern parts of the province earlier on today. Most of that by the evening hours and overnight going to be fully into Manitoba, where we're seeing some of those severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. Now, the current temperatures showing that Moose Jaw is at 15 degrees, very warm down in that southeast corner, at 20 degrees in Yorkton, up to 12 degrees this time. We peaked in Regina today at 15.0 degrees. That is right around the seasonal average for this time of year, 15.2. Not close to the record, though. That was 30 degrees in 1943.
A 30-year-old man is facing impaired driving charges after an early morning collision at Ring Road and Argyle Street North. Officers first responded to a report of a motor vehicle collision around 5:30 this morning. Officers determining that one vehicle had rear-ended another vehicle, forcing it over a raised boulevard and into a retaining wall on the overpass. According to Regina Police, the suspect then drove southbound and through a chain-link fence in a 400 block of Argyle Street North. A man was taken to hospital by EMS with minor injuries. A victim was assessed on scene by EMS and released. There were no passengers in either vehicle, according to police when they arrived. Saskatchewan NDP is gathering in Saskatoon this weekend to talk strategy and put its priorities forward.
The focus on this convention is building a bright future in Saskatchewan. We've got 3 years ahead of us. I understand it's unusual maybe to start thinking about transition, but we haven't stopped since election night.
Party leader Carla Beck says a year after the last provincial election, she's building a team she hopes will help win the next election. She says people have told the party they want issues like education, crime, and mental health addressed. The NDP convention runs until Sunday. It is the party's 86th annual convention. Meanwhile, up in Saskatoon, the newest Cree school is officially open. Today, students, staff, and Saskatchewan leaders celebrated what's to come. CTV's Laura Woodward was there and has more.
A ribbon cutting marking the opening of Saskatoon's new Cree bilingual school. Awasasa Kanomitochik St. Francis School, the Cree name meaning children who dance.
It's just a very special place. Because, you know, there's so many kids you think of, like we just had residential school, like, you know, thinking of all those people.
The school has a focus on Indigenous culture and land-based learning with specialized spaces like the Medicines Lab and Greenhouse.
The kids are going to get what I never got growing up as a kid. My culture, my language, my identity.
The pre-K to grade 9 school welcomes about 700 kids in Saskatoon's Holliston neighborhood.
The biggest thing that I'm proud of, we're on the east side of Saskatoon. We're on the east side across the river, right? We're welcomed in this beautiful neighborhood.
The school replaces St. Francis School on McPherson Avenue, built in the 1950s. In addition to teaching the Cree language, the school features a drum group and a powwow dance troupe to help students embrace and celebrate traditional aspects of Indigenous heritage. Laura Woodward, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Prairieland Park in Saskatoon is celebrating a major milestone. A special celebration was held today to mark 140 years of the city's exhibition and other major events held at Prairieland Park. The event looked back on some highlights, the early days when access across the river was a challenge. City Archivist Jeff O'Brien says the exhibition and the grounds themselves have evolved a lot over the years, from a mainly agricultural show to what it's known as today.
What changed was in 1907, Saskatoon was growing and the exhibition changed with it. So the newspaper said, we are a big city now, we need to have a big city show. And so they did. And so in the next few years, it morphed from an agricultural show to an ag show, but also science and industry and art and commerce and technology. And so this is what Prairieland has done for 140 years. Saskatoon changes and Prairieland changes.
After multiple moves, the exhibition found its permanent home at Prairieland Park in 1909. Still ahead, Hamas agrees to a U.S.-backed proposal to release all Israeli hostages. And the Prime Minister is set to talk trade in Washington next week with President Trump.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
A big development in the war in Gaza. Following an ultimatum issued earlier in the day by U.S. President Donald Trump, Hamas has issued a response to a proposed Gaza peace plan. CTV's Judy Trin is the latest from Ottawa.
Reuters is reporting that Hamas is accepting the peace deal put forward by U.S. President Donald Trump. This after he issued an ultimatum earlier today. On social media, Donald Trump wrote that an agreement must be reached by Sunday evening at 6 p.m. Washington time. This is the last chance agreement, Trump wrote, and all hell like no one has seen before will break out against Hamas. This peace proposal was first unveiled on Monday by Trump after he met with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. The 20-point peace plan calls for Hamas to release all 48 hostages, 20 of whom are believed to still be alive. Hamas members must agree to decommission their weapons and commit to peaceful coexistence. In exchange, Israel would also release nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners and gradually withdraw from Gaza, while a stabilization force led by Arab nations would eventually take over security in the territory. Now, this is happening after several countries, traditional allies of the U.S. and Israel, such as France, Britain, Australia, and Canada, recently recognized the state of Palestine last week at the United Nations General Assembly. Now, the war in Gaza is nearing 2 years. It would have reached its 2-year anniversary on October 7th. Palestinian officials say that more than 60,000 people have died and nearly 2 million people are at risk of starvation. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The Prime Minister is gearing up for another trip to Washington. Mark Carney is preparing to meet with U.S. President Donald Trump next week, with CTV News learning some movement is expected on steel and aluminum tariffs. Abigail Bimman has the latest.
Why don't you just join our country? You become 51, become the 51st state.
It will be Mark Carney's second White House visit since becoming Prime Minister in a deja vu era of 51st state remarks.
As long as this continued reference to the 51st state remains foremost in the president's mind, this is not an atmosphere that is going to make these type of negotiations easy, and it's something that absolutely enrages Canadians.
The Prime Minister has been tight-lipped lately about any progress with the president, his office not always saying when they've spoken.
Have you talked to Donald Trump recently? Yes. What did he say?
But next week's visit will aim to keep trying to get a deal on punishing American tariffs, as both countries also launch consultations for the upcoming review of CUSMA. One source tells CTV News Canada is expecting progress on steel and aluminum tariffs, but not autos. In a rare public update, the top minister on the Canada-U.S. file told a Senate committee this week he's hopeful there can be a separate deal ahead of CUSMA.
I'm hoping we can get progress before the review process formally engages, but time will tell us if my optimism is misplaced.
The embassy is abuzz, Canadian embassy is abuzz with visits and people reaching out and meetings. But maybe I think Mark Carney knows that sometimes the principal has to get into the room to close the deal. And I'm hoping that Mark Carney's trip to Washington to meet with President Trump will be about a deal and not just more conversation.
In addition to LeBlanc, the foreign affairs and industry ministers will be joining the Prime Minister on his trip to D.C. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
Veterans Affairs Canada is reversing a decision to limit the number of Remembrance Day wreaths it provides MPs. CTV News obtained an email saying Veterans Affairs Canada would be cutting back the number of wreaths to MPs, only offering 2 with a red ribbon saying Canada. MPs could order more, but it would be $15. But today, Veterans Affairs Canada says it is scrapping that plan. Canada Post tabled new orders to its striking workers after Ottawa said it's planning reforms at the financially strapped service. The federal government says Canada Post will undergo job cuts and slash a number of services, including daily mail delivery and closing offices in some rural areas, moving almost all addresses to community mailboxes. The Postal Service has said it supports the plan changes and it's aiming to reduce staffing levels through attrition and voluntary departures before considering layoffs. The 55,000-member Canadian Union of Postal Workers responded to the news by declaring a renewed strike last week. Today's offer included a more than 13% wage increase over 4 years, similar to terms offered in May, but Canada Post removed a signing bonus, citing a worsening financial picture. Drone sightings forced the closure of yet another European airport overnight. Dozens of flights were canceled or diverted, leaving thousands of passengers stranded.
Why are they doing it? What do they want to provoke with this? It's strange.
This is the latest in a series of similar incidents that have disrupted European air travel after drone sightings near airports in Denmark and Norway. European leaders called them hybrid attacks, possibly carried out by Russia, although the Kremlin denies involvement. Germany's interior minister says legislation is planned that would allow armed forces to shoot down any drones. Police in Manchester, England say one of the 2 men killed outside a synagogue yesterday may have been struck by a police bullet. The Greater Manchester Police Chief says a forensic exam found the victim had a wound consistent with a gunshot injury. He said the attacker did not have a gun and the only shots fired were by police. The 35-year-old suspect, who was wearing a fake explosive belt, was fatally shot by officers. 3 other victims were seriously hurt in what authorities described as a terrorist attack. And a judge in Manhattan has sentenced Sean Diddy Combs to 4 years and 2 months in prison, along with a $5,000 fine. The disgraced hip-hop music mogul was convicted in July on 2 counts of transportation to engage in prostitution. That was for flying people around the U.S. for sexual encounters, including his girlfriends and male sex workers. The judge says a lengthy sentence was needed for deterrence, and he's not convinced Combs would reoffend if released, or wouldn't reoffend if released. In court, he apologized for any harm or hurt he had caused ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, but prosecutors said that the 55-year-old had no remorse, noting he was so confident he'd be sentenced to time served, they booked speaking engagements in Miami for next week. Coming up, a BC man shares his experience with the late Jane Goodall.
Island Medium is coming to Saskatchewan Monday on Your Morning. Kayleen Sawatsky in conversation with Teresa Caputo ahead of her stops here.
Time now for a look at those weather conditions. It was a very pleasant day in Regina, other than that little tiny bit of drizzle that we saw. It came in the later parts of the morning. It didn't amount to much, just under a millimeter of rain. 13 degrees right now in Regina. We are seeing a nice mix of sun and cloud as the sun begins to go down. We are seeing some winds coming in at 17 kilometers per hour right now. Here's a look at how that system moved through the province today. It moved in from the southwest corner of the province. Most of the rain falling in the areas surrounding Swift Current, and then tracking northeast. Almost fully out of the province now, but we are going to be seeing just the last little bit of it into those overnight hours before it fully makes its way into Manitoba. Some more rain on the way, though, as you can see from Alberta, and that is coming with some cloud cover. It's not really impacting areas down towards the south into Saturday, however. It's really Sunday that Saskatoon and Regina could be seeing just a little bit more of that drizzle during the early morning hours on Sunday for Saskatoon, likely around about 6:30 a.m. here on your screen, and then down through Regina later on into the early afternoon. Some areas north of Assiniboia also going to be seeing just a little bit of that drizzle before we make our way into the later afternoon hours on Sunday, and things really clear up from there. Going to be seeing some sunshine at least to finish off our weekend, with some lower temperatures though. Your forecast tonight and for tomorrow showing temperatures above the average for those overnight lows. La Ronge up to about 14 degrees during the afternoon tomorrow, though. Prince Albert down to 4 degrees overnight, and then up to 16 degrees with that mix of sun and cloud tomorrow afternoon. North Battleford up to 14 degrees, mainly sunny tomorrow there. Yorkton up to about 17 degrees tomorrow. Swift Current 4 degrees overnight and 14 degrees during the afternoon tomorrow, seeing a lot of that cloud cover. However, Moose Jaw up to 18 degrees tomorrow with that nice mix of sun and cloud. Down through the southeast, Estevan cooling off to 8 degrees overnight, but 18 degrees tomorrow afternoon. Weyburn seeing that last little bit of that system overnight down to 6 degrees and 19 degrees overnight. Regina will be dropping down to about 7 degrees overnight. Could be seeing those winds up to about 35 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow afternoon, expecting a high of 15 degrees for your Saturday, with some northeast winds coming in between 15 to 25 kilometers per hour. Now here's a look at that 7-day forecast. We were talking about how temperatures were going to be nice tomorrow, but then dropping down on Sunday, and that is out of the double digits. 8 degrees on Sunday, with winds going up to about 40 kilometers per hour. Winds gusting even stronger on Monday, though. We're seeing those winds coming in between 30 to 50 kilometers per hour with that mix of sun and cloud on Monday, but we are at least going right back up for those temperatures. So up to about 13 degrees to start your next work week, and then the sun is really starting to come into play on Tuesday. 10 degrees though, winds coming in between 20 and 30 kilometers per hour. As we move into Wednesday, that's when we're really seeing the warmth return. So again, the seasonal average for this time of year is about 15 degrees, while 20 degrees is what we're expecting on Wednesday, with winds still coming in quite strong up to about 45 kilometers per hour. 15 degrees on Thursday and 13 degrees on Friday. I do want to draw your attention though to those overnight lows. We are seeing some of those minus temperatures, -2 on Sunday and -4 on Monday. So this is the time of year where if you are still gardening, you may want to consider moving some of those plants inside. So overall, it's going to be a warm Saturday and a cooler Sunday, but still seeing some very nice temperatures as we move farther into fall.
Yeah, still getting up to those 20 degrees. That's pretty good for October. Well, you agree. Thank you. All right, thank you very much. All right, earlier this week, renowned researcher Jane Goodall passed away at the age of 91. Now a BC man is sharing his personal story about a letter he received from Goodall after she took an interest in his work educating people about wolves. Andy Garland reports.
I've always loved wolves. I read Jack London as a child and began my fascination with Canadian wildlife.
For 9 years, Gary Allen of Nanaimo has kept this handwritten letter from Dr. Jane Goodall close to him.
The one word that I could use that I think really captivates her personality is graciousness.
I personally have a real love for wolves.
Allen saw Dr. Goodall featured in this documentary, Medicine of the Wolf. He reached out to her through the Jane Goodall Institute of Canada, and that's when he received this handwritten letter back.
She connects, with somebody, such as myself, and she connects with, with world leaders. The world yesterday lost a tremendous human being. Really, really sad about that.
The renowned conservationist admired the work Alan was doing in educating school children around the province about wolf conservation with his wolf dog, Tundra, and got to meet the two while she was in Kelowna for a speaking engagement in 2017.
She's 83 at this age, and she's on the floor playing with Tundra, moving around with the mobility of like a 6-year-old child.
Dr. Goodall would later blog about that visit to Kelowna, saying meeting Tundra was the highlight of the trip.
She said, when I looked into Tundra's eyes, she gave me such great strength.
And when Tundra passed away a few years ago, Ellen reached out to Dr. Goodall once again. And once again, she responded, expressing her condolences.
I really hope that, we can continue her legacy, that she is so demonstrated to so many people around the world.
Grieving the loss of Dr. Goodall, Ellen will take her inspiration of conservation and continue educating our future about an animal that was so dear to her heart. Andy Garland, CTV News, Nanaimo.
Still ahead, the Saskatchewan Roughriders look to win all their road games versus the East tonight in Ottawa.
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
Usually traveling out east can be an issue for CFL West teams, but this year the Riders have returned home with victories from Hamilton, Toronto, and Montreal. And tonight in Ottawa, they look to sweep games in the east and move closer to a home playoff game.
A crack at it for A.J. Left, trying to find a pass to the end zone, pushing in, and he's there. Touchdown, Riders.
And a good start on their first drive. They're able to score a touchdown 1-yard plunge by A.J. Ouellette, although the new kicker, Campbell Fair, I missed the convert. It's been kind of an issue this year, but Saskatchewan would pick it up again on an interception. Antoine Brooks Jr. takes it all the way back. They would get a 2-point conversion. It is 14-0 right now for Saskatchewan late in the second quarter. We'll let you know how things fare tonight at late. WHL tonight, the undefeated Moose Jaw Warriors entertained the Edmonton Oil Kings at the Temple Gardens Center.
Center ice, going wide left and then slowly making his way through the middle. Lakovic scores!
Warriors offense off to a hot start. 21 goals in 3 games. That's an average of 7 per game. Pavel McKenzie and Ethan Semenuk are leading the way with 7 points each. Puck drop is set for 7 o'clock. Also, Swift Current Broncos host Vancouver. The Broncos are undefeated at home so far this season with wins over Regina and Medicine Hat. Puck drop is also 7 o'clock at the Innovation Plex. And it's long been a rallying cry for the Toronto Blue Jays and its fans. The song OK Blue Jays is much as part of the game as the 7th inning stretch. And now, on the eve of their playoff run, CTV's John Venavali Rao met with some of the musicians behind that iconic song.
It's a staple of the 7th inning stretch whenever the Blue Jays play at home. A song that's been around for more than 40 years.
You got a diamond, you got 9 men.
And one musician, Jack Lenz, helped to compose in a single afternoon back in 1982.
And that's not all, yeah, it was an afternoon, a couple hours.
Back then, Lenz and songwriting partner Tony Kosnick were asked to come up with a commercial to help market the Blue Jays to people who may not be baseball fans, which included Lenz and Kosnick, who'd never been to a big league game.
Neither of us were qualified to write that song.
Lenz says then Blue Jays executive Paul Beeston met with him and told the pair, when writing the song, to take into consideration the team was just 5 years old.
He didn't want to promise too much, so we could say they were okay. That was exact words. But fortunately, okay rhymed with Blue Jays, right?
If they figured the song they came up with would last about a year, but it was released as a record that eventually went gold, selling more than 50,000 copies.
This is original.
This goes back to 1982. Yeah. Len's showing us the sheet music that's now a piece of Blue Jays history.
You got the bleachers, you got them from spring till fall.
A song that featured the voice of musician Keith Hampshire.
A little OK Blue Jays.
Who says almost no one knows it's him singing the lyrics.
I go to the ball games now with my grandson, and when he was little, he used to look at me and go, "Is that you, Papa?" I go, "Yeah, that's me, son."
Hampshire is a big Jays fan and pleased the song lives on. Okay. And like Len's, hoping the team is more than just okay in the playoffs.
Let's.
John Venevalley-Rouse, CTV News.
Crack.
Toronto.
Coming up, should the rest of Canada join Saskatchewan and not change their clocks?
All right, let's take a look now at our rural forecast. We're seeing some great temperatures for our day tomorrow, not quite as high as what we have been seeing earlier on in this week, but still right around the seasonal average. So still nice to see with a lot of sunshine on the way for your day tomorrow. Watrous up to 13 degrees, Wynyard 17 degrees, and Outlook just below that, expecting that high of 16 degrees. Down towards the south, East End Cypress up to 12 degrees tomorrow, mainly cloudy there though. Maple Creek also seeing that cloud cover up to 14 degrees. Coronach up to 18 degrees tomorrow, and Carlisle enjoying that high of 18 degrees again with mainly cloudy skies to start the afternoon. They should be pushing off later on into the overnight hours. Now let's take a look at Delisle, where internet plans up to 1 gig are available from Sasktel. Tomorrow the high is going to be about 13 degrees. Winds are going to be about the same as what we saw today, coming in from the northwest between 20 to 30 kilometers per hour.
Now, not us, but most Canadians will make the switch from daylight saving time to standard time early next month. But one Liberal MP is the latest to call for an end to the ritual of springing forward and falling back, joining us here in Saskatchewan. She plans to table a private member's bill next week to end the time change. More in this report.
The time has come to address time change.
Twice a year, we change our clocks. In a month, we'll roll back an hour to standard time before jumping forward again in the spring. But Liberal MP Marie-France Lalonde is set to put forward a private member's bill. She wants a pan-Canadian conference to decide on a set time that we'd stick to year-round.
It is proven to negatively impact our public safety. Actually, we know that there's more road accidents, including pedestrians getting hit by cars, happen when the time changes.
Experts have long warned about the negative consequences of the time changes.
And this is also a question of health equity, because research tells us that some groups of the population are more affected than others. For example, children, teenagers, seniors, and people with chronic illnesses.
The BC Chamber of Commerce has been advocating for this approach for some time.
There is costs for small businesses to, be changing, whether it's computer systems or point of sale systems. Many of that's done automatically. I know now, but there are some costs, but there's also personal costs, just in terms of our own bodies and energy, and that also contributes to safety.
People on the streets of Vancouver seem to like the idea.
I would prefer not to fall back in the fall and have an hour more daylight.
I really don't like it. I find it messes up my sleep, and it takes days to kind of get adjusted.
I think it's a good idea to get rid of the daylight savings time. It causes a lot more problems and a lot of shock to people when they set back the clocks.
In 2019, BC passed legislation to switch to permanent daylight time. However, the change would happen only if and when Washington State, Oregon, and California do the same. Martin McMahon, CTV News, Vancouver.
Stocks both on the way up. TSX up 311 points, while the Dow Jones was up 238 points. The Canadian dollar dropped again 0.03 of a cent to 71.66 cents U.S. Commodity front, gold up $29.96. West Texas Intermediate crude was up 37 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude was down $1.15. So gas in Regina, no movement. Currently $1.35.9 cents per liter.
Canada Post has presented a new offer to the union representing striking workers. It includes the same offer of a 13.6% increase over 4 years, but the Crown Corporation has pulled a signing bonus off the table, citing its worsening financial situation. Mail carriers have been on strike for a week. The union says it will review the offer. More homes are sold in Toronto in September, but the price of homes still falling. Sales moved up 8.5% year over year, but the average selling price is down close to 5%. The Enbridge CEO says the Prime Minister needs to turn words into action and follow through on making Canada an energy superpower. Greg Ebel is calling for less regulation, faster reviews, and getting rid of emissions caps. Enbridge, by the way, is advising Alberta on a pitch for a new pipeline. Those are your business headlines. I'm Morella Fernandez.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, followed by Special Forces World's Toughest Test. And then we're going to thrill you with Triple Big Bang Theory. Always a popular one. Several years after it came to an end, a popular crime drama series is plotting its return to streaming.
And my Peaky Blinders rest.
Yeah, Netflix confirmed today that it's ordered 2 seasons of a new Peaky Blinders show. The original followed the story of a street gang in interwar Birmingham, with its leader played by Cillian Murphy. Creators Stephen Knight has signed on for the sequel series, which will be set in 1953 with a new set of characters.
So not really a I guess Taylor Swift released a brand new album.
Who knew?
That's the track, The Fate of Ophelia, from Swift's 12th studio album, The Life of a Showgirl. The music superstar also debuting a cinematic release party at theaters, giving fans a bit of an early look at the album's first music video.
Yeah, I am a fan. All right, an upcoming streaming series will be of interest to Canadian baseball fans.
It's called Who Killed the Montreal Expos? Remember them? Explores that very question. It investigates the behind-the-scenes controversies, devastating setback, and critical mistakes that led to Montreal losing Canada's first Major League Baseball team. It also features interviews with beloved club legends, manager Philippe Alou, players Pedro Martinez, Larry Walker, Vladimir Guerrero. It starts streaming on October 21st, excuse me. Yeah, and you know what? There was the year where the Expos could have won the World Series. They were playing well, and then there was a strike, and the season ended. And then they left eventually.
Well, now there's a new show just for you to watch, to talk about it.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to watch it. But I do love baseball, and we'll see what the Jays do. Vladimir Guerrero's in that. His son, Junior, plays for the Jays. They'll start against the Yankees tomorrow. See you later.